Hey there YouTube, Mr. Orcalicos here, and today I thought I'd give you one of my deck profiles for Yu-Gi-Oh! It's this deck. In case you can't see that very well, it's called Noble Knights. Let's get started. First up, 2 Lady of the Lakes. Can't be used as single material monster except for the synchro summon of a warrior type monster. And if it is, you banish it. When this card is almost summoned, target one noble monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one level 5 noble knight monster you control, reduce this level by 1, and if you do, special summon it from the graveyard. Run 2 of those. I run 2 Guinevere, Queen of the Noble Knight. You can target a Noble Knight monster you control, equip that card from hand or graveyard to that target. You can use the effect of her once per turn. The equipped monster gains attack equal to the appropriate effect. It gains 300 attack. Apply the appropriate effect depending on the attribute of the equipped monster. For light, if the equipped monster will be destroyed by a card effect, destroy this card instead. For dark, if the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster, at the start damage step, you can destroy that monster, then destroy this card. 2 of those. 1 Merlin. Can't tell if you can see that or not. Run 1 of those. You can only use each effect of Merlin once per turn, which means you can use all of them once per turn. 1. You can tribute to this card, special summon a Noble Knight from your deck. You cannot special summon monsters during the turn you activate this card except for Noble Knight monsters. 2. During either player's turn, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 Noble Knight monster you control during using monsters you control. 3. During either player's turn, you banish this card from the graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, exceed summon 1 Noble Knight monster you get the monsters you control. Only run 1 of that. 1 Noble Knight Artargus. Doesn't have an effect, just a small description. Saying something about that fateful day or something like that. I run 1 Bedwar. When this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can send 1 Noble Knight equipped spell card from your deck to the graveyard. During either player's turn, you can target 1 Noble Knight equipped spell card and 1 appropriate monster on the field. Equip that equipped spell card to that appropriate monster. This effect can only be used once while it is face up on the field. Only 1 of those. 3 Noble Knight Boars. It's treated as a normal monster while face up on the field, and while it's equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell card, it becomes an effect monster with these effects. There's only 1. It becomes a dark and its level is increased by 1. During your main phase, you can reveal 3 Noble Arms cards from your deck. Have your opponent randomly add 1 of them to my hand, and send the rest to the graveyard. You can only use the effect once per turn. Dang it. I run 1 Driftstar. While you control a Noble Knight monster, your opponent cannot target your monsters with 1500 or less attack except this card for attacks or with card effects. If a Noble Arms equipped spell card is equipped to this card, target 1 face-up monster on the field, destroy that target, and you can only use his effect once per turn. I run 1 Ishtar. You can banish 2 Noble Knight monsters from your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. You can only use the effect of Ishtar once per turn. A synchro or exceed summon of a Noble Arms monster using this card as a material cannot be negated. Also, your opponent cannot activate a card's effect set when that monster is special summoned. Only 1. I run 2 going. If I control a light monster, I can special summon in defense position. I run 2 of those. So say you have 2 in your hand, plus another light monster, you can normal summon that, and special summon both in defense. If your opponent doesn't negate those summons. Most likely they will try. I will run 2 Gualtravad. It's just like Boars. It's a normal monster while face up on the field, and while it's equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell card, it gains this effect. You can target 1 Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand, and if you do, destroy 1 Noble Arms spell card you control. And you can only use them once per turn. I run 1 Marauder, is that how you pronounce it? It's just like Boars again. It's just like Boars and Gualtravad. Normal monster on the field. While it's equipped with Noble Arms card, it gains this effect. This card becomes a dark and its level is increased by 1. Once per turn, if you control no other monster, you can special summon this 1 Noble Knight monster from your deck in defense position, except Marauder. And if you do, destroy 1 equipped spell card you control. Run 1 of those. Wait, what was that called? Medrot, my bad. I was thinking about this card, which is 2 Breeders. I run 2 Breeders. While equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell card, this card becomes a dark, and its leveling is increased to 1. If this card sent from the field to the graveyard, while equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell card, target 1 Noble Arms in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. I run 2 of those. If you heard me say dang it earlier, it's because some of the Noble Knight cards I already did fell to the floor. I'll pick them up when I finish this video. I run one Ignoble Knight of Black Lancelin. You can send 1 light monster you control, 1 light noble monster you control to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. You contribute 1 Noble Knight monster, add 1 Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of them once per turn. You can only control 1 Lancelin. 1 Night Day Greffer. Can you say that? Sorry, though. When I did it like this, it looked like there was some light shining on it. See, like that, and like that. It's just like Boars, only while this card is normal summon. When this card is normal summon, while this card is a normal monster on the field, you can normal summon it to have it become an effect monster with this effect. During your end phase, you can target 1 equipped spell card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand, and you can only use them once per turn. And for the last monster, I run 1 Dawn Knight. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, send 1 light monster from your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, target 1 light monster in your graveyard, place that target on top of your deck. You can only use them once per turn. And only once that turn. That's the monster lineup. I know it looks a little thin, but like I said, some of the cards fell to the floor. For spells, 2 Noble Knights of the Round Table. During your end phase, you can activate each of these effects up to once per turn, depending on the total number of Noble Knight cards with different names in your graveyard and or you control. For 3 or more, send 1 Noble Knight card from your deck to the graveyard. For 6 or more, special summon 1 Noble Knight monster from your hand. Then you can equip 1 Noble Arms equipped spell card from your hand to that monster. 9 or more, target 1 Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Or 12 or more, draw a card. Run 2 of those. One last chapter of the Noble Arms, or of the Noble Knights. If your opponent controls a monster, you can control no monsters. You can target one Noble Arms, equip spell card, and one appropriate Noble Knight monster in your graveyard. Special on that target, and if you do, equip that equip spell card to that appropriate monster. You can only activate it once per turn. Three Noble Arms of Destiny. The reason why I'm rating them word for word is because I'm still not familiar with this deck. I need to get more practice with it. You can only control one Destiny. Equip only to a warrior type monster. Once per turn, the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. If this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control. Equip this card to that target, and you can only use the effect once per turn. Now you can only control one per turn, or one. Yeah, only one. I run 2 Arfiditor. I don't know how to pronounce it. Equip only to a Noble Knight. You can only control one Noble Arms Arfiditor. Equip only to a warrior type monster. Once per turn, you can target one set card your opponent controls. The equipped monster loses 500 attack, and if it does, destroy that target. This attack loss remains even when the card leaves the field or the monster becomes unaffected by card effects. If this card, hang on, sorry. If this card is on the field, if this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type monster, one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control. Equip this card to that target, and you can only use it once per turn. Sorry, I kind of kept saying hang on. Something was popping up on the laptop, but it's gone now. So we can continue. I run 2 Noble Arms Caliburns. I can only control one. Equip only to a warrior type monster. It gains 500 attack, and once per turn, I can gain 500 life points. And just like with the other Noble Arms cards, if it would be destroyed, I can equip it to another warrior type Noble Knight monster. And can only use the effect once per turn. Now for one of the best cards. 3 Excaliburns. Equip only to a Noble Knight monster. The target cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. During your turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, and banish this card from the graveyard. Then target one Noble Knight XE monster you control. Special summon from your. Then target one Noble Knight XE monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck one Noble Knight XE monster with a different name. By using that target as the XE material. It's traded as an XE summon. XE materials attached to it also becomes XE materials on special summon. You can only use the effect of Excalibur once per turn. Really good if you want to get Sacred Noble Knight Artargus out. And then I run 2 Galatines, Noble Arms Galatines. You can only control one. Equip only to a warrior type monster. It gains 1,000 attack, and during each of your standby phases, it loses 200 attack. And just like with some of the other Noble Arms cards, if it would be destroyed and sent to the graveyard, target one warrior type Noble Knight monster, equip it to that target, and you can only use it once per turn. 1 Swords at Dawn. Target one equip spell card in graveyard and one appropriate monster on the field. Equip that target to the equip the equipped spell card to that monster. Destroy that equipped spell card during the end phase. If you activate this card, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn. You can only activate 1 Swords at Dawn per turn. And 1 Release Restraint Wave. Target one equipped spell card you control. Destroy the equipped spell card and all face down spell and trap cards your opponent controls. It's not really good if you know your opponent has artifacts in the spell and trap card zones. I know they are for artifacts or monsters, but they're effects that you can set them in spell and trap card zones, and when they're destroyed during your opponent's turn, then you can special summon them. Really bad to use Noble Knights when you know your opponent is running artifacts. Now for traps, 1 Avalon. Target 5 Noble Knight monsters in your graveyard, including at least 1 Atargus and at monster and at least 1 Lancelin monster. Banish those targets, and if you do, destroy all cards on the field. I run 1 of those. 1 Malevolent Catastrophe. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. Or all spell and trap cards, on the field. Also bad if your opponent's running artifacts. Like I said with the Swords at Dawn. Or not the Swords at Dawn, the release Restraint Wave. 1 Solemn Warning. Have to run 1 against limited, which sucks. When a monster would be summoned, or a spell or trap card would be activated, or a monster's effect is activated, that includes an effect that special summons a monster, pay 2,000 life points and negate the summoner activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And the last trap is Compulse. Return 1 monster on the field to the owner's hand. Those are my spell and traps. Now for the extra deck, 2 Atargus, King of the Noble Knights. It's a warrior, XZ, and effect monster. Requires 2 level 4 Noble Knight monsters. When it's XZ summoned, you can target up to 3 Noble Arms equipped spell cards with different names. And in your graveyard, equip those targets to this card. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XZ material from this card. Destroy any number of spell and trap cards on the field up to the number of Noble Arms equipped spell cards you control. Run 2 of those. Another one of the best cards, which you can use for Noble Arms Excalibur, Sacred Noble Knight of King Atargus. Can you see that? Requires 2 level 5 Noble Knight monsters or Excalibur to Chaos XZ or something, rank up. When this card is XZ summoned, you can target up to 3 Noble Arms equipped spell cards with different names in your graveyard. Equip those targets to this card, like the Atargus King of the Noble Knights. But once per turn, you can detach 1 XZ material from this card, then target 1 other monster on the field to destroy that card. This card is sent from the field to the graveyard. You can target 1 level 4 lower Noble Knight, 1 level 4 or higher Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. I'll run 2 of those. And finally, 1 Ignoble Knight of High Lancelin. Can you see that? It's a synchro monster, requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner Noble Knight monster. When this card is synchro summoned, you can equip 1 Noble Arms equipped spell card from your deck to this card. At the end of the battle phase, if this card is destroyed a monster by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Noble Knight or Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand. You can only control 1 Ignoble Knight of High Lancelin. Well, guys, that's my Noble Knight deck. Tell me what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want more decks. This is Mr. Orcalicos, signing off.